Bermuda, with its architecturally unique pastel homes, rich in history, lush gardens against a backdrop of pink sandy beaches and blue waters, all blended together to make this island a place of magic. Small wonder the Calypsonian deemed it another world. Inside Bermuda Homes, brought to you by Shell Point Orange, in association with Lily Bermuda and OBMI Bermuda. When you hear the name Little Wallop, you might think of a little village in Hampshire, England, or this delicately crafted goat cheese, also produced in England. But the Little Wallop to which I refer is an elegantly and extensively decorated home overlooking the Sound View and Sands right here in Bermuda. Little Wallop sits on 2/3 of an acre of sloping landscape grounds, intentionally designed to reflect the tastes, lifestyle, and requirements of the owners, Mark and Isabel Berry. The overall scale of the renovated portion of the house was purposely kept in line with the original building to avoid that great Bermuda add-on look, an effect quite prevalent in local renovated properties. Little Wallop's renovated section blends seamlessly into the old so that everything is harmonious and cohesive. Chock full of art, from a stunning canvas by an Iranian artist to a massive bronze horse, the Berry collections define who they are. A couple who very much enjoy their surroundings, to which they have both so joyfully contributed. Sitting at a piano aptly named Charlie, after Mark's late father, the musician, photographer, sailor, and raconteur Charlie Berry, Mark talks about the well-tuned instrument, a key feature in their living room. Mark, this is an exquisite piano. Give me a bit of its history.
Well, this is probably my most precious piece of art in the whole house. When my father passed away in 1997, he left us a little inheritance, which shared between my brothers, two half-brothers and my brother, Robert, who lives in the UK. And rather than put it towards the mortgage, rather than pay bills or have it disappear, I decided that I would buy this piano with a gift from my father. So the piano is called Charlie. It's absolutely magical. I'm still taking piano lessons. Unfortunately, time is at a premium, so I can't play as much as I'd like to. I've played for about 50 years, but as I always say, I've played for about 25 in that 50-year period. So there's a great expression, it doesn't matter how slow you go, just never stop. So I keep it going.
Mark, this has got to be the most stunning bit of color in this room. Tell me about the artist.
Well, I acquired this piece very soon after I got the piano, and it was in San Francisco. It's an Iranian artist called Hissam Abrashami, born in 1951, and his work has become extremely popular in the US. When I saw it, I thought this is going to be the perfect partner for this piano, and I knew this was the spot, and there it will stay for as long as I can.
But your art collection also moves to other sections of this room. For example, over the mantle there. Who's that?
Well, a lot of the art in the room are pieces I've acquired that don't necessarily all fit together, but once you get them, the collection, they all sort of complement each other. So on top of the fireplace are some bronze casts that I first acquired in New York City. I was actually just interested in the piano player, and the salesman was very good. He said, "You can't break up the band." So I had to make a phone call to the bank and say, can you extend my credit card limit? So I ended up picking up the set. And they're limited edition, Mark Hopkins. And 1992 was the first set. 10 years later, I'm walking down the street in Park City in Utah, and the sun was in my wife and our eyes. And so we decided to cross the road, and there was a gallery. And I looked in the window, and I saw a trombone player. And I said, that's a Mark Hopkins. So I walked in and I said to the salesman, is that a Mark Hopkins? Yes. Do you have any? I told him the edition I had. And he said he did a single run of the trombone player, limited edition of 750, to complement that previous edition in 1992. And just by fate, I happened to be walking down the street. I had no idea he'd made it.
Now, what about below the elephant and the, what are they?
Well, my wife and I, as well, when we went to celebrate our 50th birthdays, we decided we'd go on a special trip. So we went to Vietnam and Cambodia. Well, for anyone who's been there, they can attest to the quality of craftsmanship in all their arts. And we found these. And so we took the plunge and didn't worry about how we were going to ship them back. And we made the acquisition, and now they have their home here in front of our fireplace in Bermuda.
Well, that's an interesting fireplace surround.
That's special work done by David Bryan. He's a local carpenter. When I first got the house in 1999, I asked him if he could make me a cedar frame for that fireplace. It used to be a yellow brick and nondescript. And the only instructions I passed on were, please make it timeless, quality, and Bermudian. And he did a magnificent job.
It's exquisite.
It is fabulous.
The original entrance to Little Wallop contains what we can consider original art to Bermuda, the very interesting gumbies.
Living so close to Dockyard, we do spend a lot of time in the Arts and Crafts Center and the galleries down there. And one day when we were in the glass blowing shop, we found these beautiful gems. The gambes come by our house frequently, and we're such a fan of them. And we saw these and we thought they'd be absolutely fabulous to have in our entrance. So this was another piece we collected from Vietnam, a marble Happy Buddha. What's notable about this is its weight. 4 Bermuda forwarders, movers, barely made it up the stairs to put it here. It will never leave here. This is an attractive piece. We bought this in Istanbul when we were visiting Turkey. And what's special about it is it's tile, but it's quartz tile. And it's exactly the same tile that they built the Blue Mosque with. And the unique feature is that that color will never ever fade. It'll look just as bright as that 1,000 years from now.
Come and discover the universe of Lily Bermuda at Stewart Hall in St. George's and on Front Street in Hamilton.
Now, Mark, this is a little room with obviously big treasures. The desk, for example. Tell me about this.
Well, this was a very lucky find because, as we know and have talked about, English furniture is traditionally very big. And this desk is actually French. It's mahogany, and as you'll notice, it has all this brass inlay and has a very special locking mechanism, one of the first of its kind. But the fact that it fit perfectly in here, sold.
The art?
These two pieces we picked up in Mystic in Connecticut. There's lots of galleries there and so on, and of course we're always filtering through. And this artist was particularly intriguing in that he's Ethiopian, and he was discovered by an American benefactor who funded his university education at the University of Puerto Rico. And of course, with our musical interests, they made a perfect place for the library.
Now, Mark, you have a very busy schedule. When do you think you have time to read all these books?
I'm looking forward to my retirement. I'm going to spend a lot of time at this desk working my way through some of those. Some beautiful gems up there. My father's, the Churchill diaries, and lots of collectibles, a lot to do with sailing, which obviously he was very much involved with, and which I am too. A lot of my mother's novels, and several of my own collectibles. It's wonderful to spend time here with that view, of course.
And this chair.
And that chair. That's a special find as well. That's antique, it's mahogany, and it has some very special features, the way the wood is swept to fit so that nice and comfortable sitting back.
So I'm sitting in a very special place.
Yes, and glad to have you there. So we're still in the original part of the house, and as you can see, it has a classical theme to it still. Right here I have a painting done by a local artist, Mark Bowden, that I bought off Jay Bluck about 30-something years ago, and that was my first ever art piece. So very proud of that. And then I have an assembly of family photographs, my mother's side with Uncle James, who fought with Montgomery in North Africa against Rommel, and then my father, who flew the Fairey Swordfish on the Ark Royal with the Fleet Air Arm, and his favorite sailboat of all time, Rainbow 2. We also have an oil painting of our beloved Fergus, who we lost recently, so he will be with us in time immemorial, and the International One Designs, which I sailed with my father for about 20 years. Also, on the table here, we have some other pieces, a wonderful bronze cast of the Serengeti, a hunt scene, and then a couple of boomerangs which I picked up in Australia, which were thankfully easy to bring home.
The powder room off the dining room was renovated and given a special feature, a buttery stepped ceiling illuminated for a striking effect at night. The small room has an original Thomas Crapper.
So here we are in the upstairs powder room, which we decided to have some fun with. Isabel was determined to have a traditional Thomas Crapper cistern toilet. And after much ado, we managed to get one, and here's the finished product. Also, I should mention the quality of masonry in here is just spectacular. If you look up and see the buttery ceiling, you can see it is really a work of art. So we're absolutely thrilled, and all our guests always come out with a chuckle.
The Berries entrusted the renovation of Little Wallop's existing structure to the unparalleled skills of Paddy Crouch, president of By Design. Did renovating Little Wallop present more design challenges than if it were a newly built house?
Well, in some respects it did, because obviously you have the parameters to create something that is harmonious with what's already there. It wasn't a blank slate, so to speak. But it actually gave us, on the other hand, in the positive, a guideline to the concept that we ended up, achieving, and because we wanted to really be sure that the house didn't feel like an add-on. We wanted to feel like it was always there and it was seamless.
There's so many unique features in the house. How much input did the owners give?
Well, the owners are first and foremost. We are very client-driven. Luckily, we do know the owners very well and know a lot about what their likes and dislikes are. So I would say that in anything that we conceived, it was always with them in mind. So even if they didn't say it, we knew it's something that they would like, because we know them well. We got to know them very well.
The family cum games room was created entirely for enjoyment and relaxation, with a custom designed pool table and, of all things, a wine cave. The room also highlights touches of Isabel's native Scotland.
So welcome to the games room. Wonderful design. Paddy Crouch brought this all together for us. It is a bit of a boys' room, as a lot of the art and the collections will attest. And of course, just hinged off it, we have this wonderful wine cellar, which was a real gem because we found an old water tank, and so a bit of divine intervention allowed us to create that. And all the art around here, all of it has a story. Over the bar we have a mirror which I had made in California with Spirit, our Bermuda sloop, as a centerpiece. Martha Kirkland actually took the picture, and I've done a lot of work with this sloop and fundraising and so on, and so they let me have that picture, and I couldn't think of anything better to put behind the bar. Continuing with the sailing theme, of course we were very much involved with the America's Cup. I had a chance actually to go on Oracle, the competition boat, which was very much a life moment, sailing with Jimmy Spittle and the crew. And of course, quite friendly with Russell Coutts, who was very friendly with my father, particularly with Rainbow 2 and the New Zealand connection with the boat. And here, some more pictures. Again, actually one with Isabel and Jimmy Spittle when Jimmy won the Gold Cup in 2005, when he was still sailing for Prada. So that was a big moment. And then of course he returns many years later to sail in the America's Cup on Bermuda. And here is a wonderful piece. I am a motor racing enthusiast. I'm a member of Goodwood as a Duke of Richmond in Sussex in the UK. And this is a Ferrari 250 GTO oil painting I found in Colorado, of all places. But it's got so much movement to it. It's just a fabulous piece. A couple of models of the AC-45 and the AC-50 America's Cup boats. And then over on the corner we have a little collection of a couple of a poster and a photograph from Goodwood. One of Ray Hanna, who was a Spitfire pilot who famously flew his Spitfire 15 feet off the tarmac down the pit straight at Goodwood in 1998. And then also a fabulous photograph of Jimmy Spittle sailing on a moth. Really quite something to see. And then we get to enjoy this beautiful surrounding when we want to relax.
Now there's one thing I noticed about this room that has Isabel's stamp on it.
Very much, yes. It's the vein that runs through our lives.
There you go.
Yeah, wonderful. And just the right accent. So, yeah, very nice to have that Scottish heritage.
The Barry's spacious new kitchen was achieved by using the existing space of the original kitchen to make it larger, brighter and more functional, with a breakfast bar, seating, and cabinetry. And here's a cute feature, a lift-up television and a movable table-style center island. On the lower landing stands what must be a first in Bermuda, a bronze horse in the house. Now, Bob, I've been to many houses, but this is the first time I've seen a horse inside a house. Would you like to explain this to me, please?
It's special, isn't it? Well, this proved to be one of the more challenging pieces to bring home, as you would obviously suspect. The artist is Carol Cunningham. She lives in Arizona, and she's known for her work with horses. It's limited edition, 15 of 15. This was cast in 1997. Basically, she's commended for how anatomically correct she is with her horse sculptures. But of course, we just fell in love with it. I mean, First Love, what a great name.
Yeah.
And obviously, as we were talking, even just the girl on her tippy toes giving her First Love a hug is very special. So these are an interesting addition to our collection. We found them in Brighton. It's a Greek artist who's very well known for his pop art work. Sadly passed away January 2017, Gregory Ioannou. We bought them about 10 years ago. They sat in a box for a very long time. I had no idea where we were going to put them. And then we moved back in and voila, the perfect spot. So rounding out the rest of the room, we have our family wall. This is an idea I got from a friend a long time ago, and it's a great way to showcase your family. And every time we walk by, it always brings a smile to my face as I take a walk down memory lane. And here we have our feeding station for our boys. The great thing about when you're doing a renovation and you have a clean piece of paper is you can come up with fun ideas like that. So this is where Fergus and Alba would enjoy their dinner.
In the master bedroom, a mirror hangs over the fireplace, which is actually a television, disguised to not detract from the aesthetics of the room, but offering amazing views and easy access from the kitchen and the patios.
This is a wonderful piece we found in Vietnam. Now you may think it's a photograph or a painting, but actually it's a tapestry of silk thread on linen. And we got it from Hoi An in the center of Vietnam, which is known for its clothing and silk works. So one of the wonderful treats that you get when you have a new addition to a house is that you can build your dream rooms. And we've built our dream bathroom with obviously these conveniences and a view like that. It's hard to beat.
Steps lead from the bedroom to the pool for those early morning swims.
So here I have our collection of Bermuda historic memorabilia, mostly Bermuda maps, but also some antique tourist posters. The collection I have quite varied from charts, i.e. sea maps to the Ordnance Survey, Lempriere, Blau, Janssen, Van Kuylen, and here we have two original Bermuda tourist posters. One's by Arzabar Chef, that's dated 1949, and Tradler, and that's 1950. And we thought it was kind of fun, Bermuda by air and Bermuda by sea. My most prized piece in the collection is this one here, the John Smith, which is in the General Histoire, the colonization of Virginia, New England, and the Somers Isles. And this map is actually pictured in that edition, 1623, I think.
Visible from an upper deck is the most inviting pool imaginable. Mosaic turtles installed by a Hawaiian artisan beckon swimmers to delve into the crystal clear waters. A custom 60-inch stone compass rose sits on the landing outside the guest bedroom, exactly true north after copious calculations to ensure its accuracy. From this vantage point, an uninterrupted view of the result of creative landscaping, a secret garden, found only by following a stone path from the upper lawn. Martin Brown of Brown & Company Limited Landscape Gardeners talks about the challenges encountered in redesigning Little Wallop's landscape. So what sort of challenges did you face on this project?
Well, I mean, there were challenges that really were part of the potential of the property. One of them is the long sloping lawn down to the water had loads of potential in that, you know, you had the open view out to the harbor, the waterfront, but at the same time there was a big exposure to the northeast, so a lot of winds in the winter, a lot of salt spray. So our plant selection had to be pretty careful with plant selection so that we were getting plants that would give us the effect that we wanted, but that were tolerant to those sort of elements.
Now, this being a sloping property, did you have difficulty sort of forming up the formal gardens?
Well, a lot of the potential was there, the structure was there here. You had the terracing going down, but the property had suffered from quite a few years of neglect, and there was no real horticultural maintenance or development work. So we basically took that potential and built on it. So we were able to, we kept the main central vein down from the top garden down to the dock, but then on the one side we sort of augmented, we made the terracing bigger with sort of boulder walls, and we created each one of those terraces as separate rooms. They're separate from the central vein. And then on the other side we did the formal garden with the water feature and the terrace up top.
The upper balcony was expanded to provide not only al fresco living and dining, but a full enjoyment of the spectacular views. Here you get up front and personal with a custom mosaic art piece replicated from the original watercolor of the Sea Venture. How could we even think of leaving Little Wallop and not show you, well, a sanitary feature for the beloved poodles? After, well, you know what dogs do on lawns. Neat, huh?
So welcome to the downstairs section of Little Wallop. This was a little room we decided to have some fun with. First of all, we had this beautiful carpet, handmade silk, reported to have approximately 2 million knots to be made. So we thought it wasn't one we really wanted to put on the ground. To complement that, we have these, which are ostrich eggs lamps. And then we also have a lacquer handmade from Vietnam again. And we thought we'd make this into a place to come and get away from the rat race. So we call it our Zen room. As you can see, we have carpet and cushions and so on, and can just sit down and relax and enjoy some quiet time. And even play with the dog.
Time and attention were applied to blend the old with the new, the result being a splendid home with gardens and art galleries and features that are reminiscent of the couple's taste and talent. Well, now that you've seen Little Wallop, I think you'll agree with me that it adds just a bit of magic to Sands Parish. And even though little might be in the name, this house sure packs a big wallop. For Inside Bermuda Homes, I'm Charles Webbe.